Would you like to tell us a bit about the Pathway to Employment scheme?
The Pathway to Employment scheme has been set up for approximately 3 years now. It was identified that our workforce wasn't representative of the citizens of Somerset, so a ring-fenced pot of money has been set aside over those 3 years to spend on the salaries and training of young people from vulnerable backgrounds. So in the last 3 years, we've been able to support 90 people across our services, including Ellen and Shane. The others that I refer to are working in a whole range of different services, from transporting Somerset to finance to facilities management.
I'm Anne Porter. I'm a Special Educational Needs and Disability Professional Advisor for the Department for Education. I'm going to be talking to some colleagues from Somerset County Council who are going to talk to us about the Children and Young People Champions scheme.
Hi, I'm Ellen Collard and I'm a Young Persons Champion for the Special Educational Needs and Disability Reforms.
My name's Shane Dangar. I am also a Young Persons Champion for the Special Education Needs and Disabilities Reforms.
My name's Gemma Lang and I'm the Engagement and Participation Officer working with the Young People's Champions.
Could you tell me a bit about the reasoning behind the Children and Young People Champions and what you did in the early stages to get them set up? Perhaps if you could tell me a bit about who you talked to and who needed to be involved and what level it was agreed at.
Yeah, so before the team there was a lot of work done behind the scenes really with lots of key stakeholders in terms of people from education, people from healthcare and people from social care, as well as parent carers and young people that all got together and said actually there needs to be better engagement and participation of children and young people with special educational needs and disabilities in Somerset, and we need a plan of how that's going to happen. Over a 6-month period, those people met quite frequently and wrote a 36-page strategy which actually details how the team will do that. Which then led to it needing a coordinator and an officer, which led to sort of my role, and the Young People's Champions. We felt that it was really important that actually there were young people with special educational needs and disabilities fulfilling those roles, really.
And that led to me and Ellen. And from the beginning, from the 1st of April 2015, we were involved, we started our roles, and since that time, we've met a lot of different practitioners. As part of our roles, we go out and meet lots of different young people, people's groups. We sit on lots of strategic meetings, and we really get out there and collect the views of young people to help reflect those views at a strategic level.
And I think it's important to note that as Young People's Champions, we are paid employees of Somerset County Council. So that in itself has been really quite interesting, hasn't it? Because both of us have backgrounds that are voluntary, done a lot of work with participation in a voluntary capacity. Then going to being a paid employee, I think that's been really interesting in terms of the meeting dynamic and learning lots about professionalism and meeting etiquette. And
For us, because we're paid employees, that puts us on the same level as the professionals that we work with. We're professionals in our own right. We're Somerset County Council staff.
It might be quite helpful to tell people where you're based as well, because I think that might be a key part of the setup.
We're here in Somerset County Council. We're responsive. People know we're here. They see us on a day-to-day basis.
Do you think having that visible presence here has made a difference?
Definitely. Even just things sort of walking down the corridor and you see people that you've met before and you say, oh, hello, how are you doing? And it's about that constant reminder that including young people in decision making, that we're here and that we're here to help, really.
Can you tell me about any barriers that there were to setting things up?
I think some of the key barriers were people's attitudes. I think Somerset County Council had been in a position where they had very little representation from children and young people with special educational needs and disabilities, to now where young people were coming along to meetings. But some of the meetings we went to, just sort of went over our head, and people weren't understanding that they needed to put some work into preparing young people for these meetings. So I think we did a lot of work around trying to break down those barriers in terms of people understanding what participation is. So we put on some workshops about participation and about the participation ladder, and we do a lot of work day to day with when people do invite us to meetings, we make it clear what we're going to need.
We were seen as the voice of young people, just me and Ellen, and that we really had to battle that, because since day one we are not all young people, and we'd be asked questions that we simply couldn't answer. So we had to take a stance where, no, we can't answer that. We have to go out and ask young people what they think before we can give you an answer.
How are you going to keep the children and young people champions going?
That's a really good question, actually, and it's something that we're really passionate about because we've put in so much, over this last year or so. We want it to be sustainable and we want it to keep going. So I think actually by making ourselves quite present in a lot of areas across Somerset was a really good start in making sure that people know who we are, know what we're about, and actually invest in the work that we're doing. And participation, it can be expensive, it can be lengthy, it can be time consuming for a lot of practitioners to be involved in. But actually, if we look at the end result, and actually hopefully we'll be looking at better services for children, young people and their families, hopefully, in terms of sustainability, it's something that the County Council are going to want to continue to invest in, really.
Yeah, we've had some really great results so far, and I think we'd like to think we're right at the beginning of that process, because Ellen and I came in, 2 new young people's champions are coming in the next couple of months after us, and we really wanted to create that cycle of young people's champions that support more young people's champions that support more young people's champions, and that hasn't even gone through one full cycle yet. Once that happens, I think the whole system will become so much smoother than it has been with the teething problem that we had in our early days.
If you could help another local authority in setting up children and young people's champions, what are the top tips that you would give them to do this?
There's lots out there. I think for us what was really helpful back in the early days, we looked at what was out there in our sort of neighbouring counties, didn't we? And we wanted to find what was already working. Let's not reinvent the wheel. Actually, if we can learn from other local authorities, let's do that. So we spent quite a bit of time sort of visiting what was happening elsewhere and learning that actually what might be working there might not work back here in Somerset because of the sort of rurality of the county. But it was really helpful in finding out what's happening elsewhere. And also with our partners within county as well, there's lots of participation initiatives across Somerset, and it's tapping into the groups that are already up and running and saying, actually, what documentation are you using, or how are you getting referrals into your group, how are you doing your promotion? And I think what we've done in Somerset is made a real connection across participation with other groups and been able to join that work up.
I think as well it's really important to plan, and I think a lot of the time we spent was planning, and we'd get a nice lunch together and we'd have a working lunch and we'd really get down to the nitty gritty and
battle out those ideas.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's absolutely crucial. I really do. But I also think it's about remembering why we're here. And that was what I think the power of this is we are young people with special educational needs or disabilities, and that is so powerful, and professionals love that. And I think any county that's interested in doing something like this should remember that the power comes from the young people and opening up conversations.
I think I'd like to highlight that. Like, having paid young people's champions, I think, is really key, because it bridges so many gaps. It made us people that you couldn't just say, oh, they're young people, because we were members of Somerset County Council staff, and I'm sure there are a lot of people that had a few reservations in the beginning that I feel we quickly overturned by the fact that we showed our commitment. The Somerset County Council showed their commitment in us, and that just helped everyone grow together.
And I think it's about making sure that the young people involved know what is needed of them. And we've learned that the power comes from us saying, we don't understand that. That doesn't make sense. And that's really, really crucial. Really crucial. And in things such as the local offer and with the EHCP process, it's really important that young people are saying, I don't understand that.
And that feedback, giving that feedback to the young people that we work with, that we go out and consult with, is crucial. Like, good feedback is the key to good participation.
Yeah.
If you ask someone for their opinion and you don't tell them what effect that's had, you'll lose their attention, or you'll make them feel disenfranchised. And that's one of our key priorities that we're pushing in Somerset County Council, is that you need to tell young people the impact of the work that you're asking them to do.